Hello, I'm Dora Tarver, and welcome to week 2 of your exclusive video coaching program on the secret strategies to quickly create and manage project schedules. In today's lesson, we'll focus on the basics for formatting that affects how the schedule looks at a glance. We'll begin with the project schedule template that we created in our previous lesson. So let's get started.
Now, before we start to develop the standard project lifecycle phases, tasks, and milestones, what you'll want to do is actually apply the basic formatting to the project schedule. And the formatting is basically going to be how the schedule looks. So the first thing you'll want to do is go to the Format menu item, and I recommend selecting Text Styles. So go ahead and click on Text Styles, and we're going to go ahead and define the critical tasks to appear as red. Then we're going to select the milestone tasks to appear as blue. And basically those two items are the primary ones that you'll want to select. You can be creative and do other things, but as you can see, there are many other attributes that you can change here. But the milestones and the critical task are the two primary ones that I recommend that you set up. You don't really need to change the font face. By default, it's Arial. Just give it a color, the milestones and the critical tasks, and then click on OK. Now, because we've set the text styles, let me go back here again so you can see. We set the critical tasks to appear red. That means whenever you have a critical task on the project schedule, that task and all of its detail will appear red automatically, and that will indicate to you that it's on the critical path. Likewise, for any milestones that you set, they will stand out because we set that to blue. Okay, milestones are tasks with a duration of 0. So once that's set, you'll want to go ahead and format the Gantt chart. And there are a couple of things that you'll want to do. First, in the far right hand corner here at the top, you'll notice that there's a date range. And we can set this time scale by right clicking in the gray area and selecting the menu item time scale. And by default, this says 2-tier, middle, and bottom, and so it's open on the middle tier. And if we go to the middle tab, and if we click on the bottom tab, we'll see the details of the bottom tab. You can configure this if you want to have a 3-tier view. Project gives you the option to do that. And let's say at the top tier, the units will be years. And you can choose how you want the years to appear by selecting the label. So in this case, I'm just going to leave it as it is right here. On the middle tier, let's say I want to see quarters. And there are different options that you can select, as you can see here, for how you want your quarters to appear. And I'm just going to go ahead and select Q1, Q2. What I'm selecting is Q1 with the year in it, Q2 with the year in it. Okay, and that's going to appear on the middle tab. And then on the bottom tab down here, I'm going to display months. Okay, and for months, I'm going to go ahead and keep the default that I have here, although I can select various views of the month. I'm going to go ahead and keep this three-letter abbreviation for each month. Okay, and this view here tells me down here what it's going to look like. So you can have 2 levels, 3 levels, 1 level, but you can control how this appears. And if I move this down, you'll see this is how it appeared previously. It showed the month and the week and the year, and it's showing days. And that might be too granular for most people. So now mine will show the months, the quarter, and the year. I'm doing this because let's say I'm working on a large project that's going to expand over a large period of time. So I don't need to be as granular in my Gantt chart. But let's say you have a quick, short project, then you'll want to break it down into a more granular view. So maybe your bottom tier might have days, or it could have hours or minutes. It's up to you. So we'll click on OK, and now we've formatted our Gantt chart timescale. Now the next thing we'll want to do is run the Gantt chart wizard, which if you look on the formatting toolbar, you'll see this icon over here, Gantt chart wizard. If you click on that, a dialog box will pop up, and this is project 2007. Go ahead and click on next, and we're going to create a customized Gantt chart. And click on next. It says, do you want to display the bars representing critical and non-critical tasks? Yes, I do. So I'll go ahead and click on next. I'm going to leave the default formatting. I like the color red for critical tasks. The bar will be a solid bar, although you could change that if you wanted to. The same for the Gantt chart, the Gantt bars representing normal tasks. They will appear blue, and the pattern will be like this. You could change the color if you wanted to, and you can also change the pattern, but I'm going to keep the default. Same for the summary tasks. This is the default view. I'm going to keep that. I could change it. Same for milestones. I like the default view. It's an industry standard. I'm going to keep that as well. What I will change here now is it's asking what kind of additional Gantt bars do you want to display. I'll want to show the baseline and the slack. So the baseline, when we get to the baselining, you'll be able to see graphically in your Gantt chart on the right hand side what your baseline is and where you are in relationship to your baseline. You'll be able to see that graphically. I also like to see slack, and slack is basically, it'll graphically show up as a line, as you see here, that shows me how much time I have outside of the allocated task. So if the task for some reason slips and I need more time on the task, then I have some slack available to be able to work on that task. So I like to have baseline and slack displayed. So next, then you get to choose what type of information you want to display on the Gantt bar. You could show resource and dates, you could just show resources, you could show just dates, you could show nothing, and you can add custom task information. So I'm going to go ahead and select custom task information. And what I'm going to do for normal tasks, I'm going to have the start date at the beginning, and at the end I'm going to show the finish date. Typically I don't put anything inside of the Gantt bar, but you could put percent complete or some other progress indicator if you wanted to. I'm going to leave this blank because I find it difficult to read, but you could do that if you want to. Then click on next. I'm going to have the start date and the finish date in the summary Gantt bar as well. So in the left I want the start date, in the right I want the finish date. I'm not going to put anything inside. And for milestones, I'm just looking for one date. It's going to be the finish date, and I want it to appear on the right hand side, so I'm going to go ahead and put finish on the right. Click on next. Do you want to show links between dependent tasks? Yes. Links are these arrows that you'll see graphically. Personally, I like to see that. If I select no, then you won't see the relationship graphically between tasks. But if you're using your Gantt bar, then most likely it'll help you to be able to see the relationships between tasks. So leaving that as yes is helpful. And then when you're done, click on Format It. And then Project has formatted the Gantt chart. So we don't have any data in our project schedule. That's actually the next step. And when we add data into our project schedule, you'll see how formatting the text styles and formatting the Gantt bar affect the look of our project schedule. So make sure you have saved your project schedule with all that information. Again, we're working in our project schedule template, and now we've saved that, so in the future when you create a project schedule, you won't need to come back and do what we just did. Literally what you'll do is you can open up this project schedule template and do a file, save as, and then save it as whatever your project name is. Okay, let's say, you know, finance system, whatever your project name is. And if I save this as finance system, now I have a new project schedule, and it has all of that formatting, all the text styles, all the options that we've set already inside of this, and I can use this and build my schedule. But before you actually save your project schedule, you'll want to first finish formatting it, and there are a few more things we're going to do.
So, in our next lesson, we'll focus on the formatting of the schedule for the project phases, tasks, milestones, and deliverables, which is the last part of configuring and formatting Microsoft Project. Before then, take a look at the homework below, and I'll see you next week.